Hey guys, we got something really cool for you today. So, about a year ago now, we had Mr. Colin Sprake on the Greatness in Action community call. And Colin was just so gracious with some of his sharing and some of his answers. And we really wanted to bring this back up because, New Year's coming up soon. Colin just stressed so much, first of all, just being on message and being, being really authentic with yourself. But also, I think the call just really, really highlighted, how important it is to be vulnerable and be authentic with what's going on. And between those two things, between intentionality and being vulnerable, that's something that I'd really like to take on for the new year. And, I think that if we all took that on, that'd be such a massive difference for all of us. So I'm just going to let Michael jump right in here with his intro for Colin, and then the call's going to start up. So thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you all soon.
So Colin, actually, he's a 4-time best-selling author. He's a serial entrepreneur for over 30 years. He's built himself 4 multi-million-dollar businesses, all under 12 months or less. He's been on NBC, Washington Post, Reader's Digest, all that stuff. A lot of news outlets. He's a member of the National Academy of Best-Selling Authors. He's done books with like Dan Kennedy, which for those of you guys don't know is one of the huge names in marketing. Brian Tracy, another massive guy. He actually was invited by Jack Canfield, who, though, if you don't know him, he was the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul. So another just monster guy in the personal development space, to join an elite group of the top 100 leaders called the Transformational Leadership Council. And he's a 2-time Quilly Award winner, which is basically it's often considered the Oscars for writers. So this massive opportunity there. Michael Gerber's endorsed him. He's been on stage with Brendon Bouchard, Robert Allen, which is a huge guy in real estate, trained over 40,000 entrepreneurs. And he has a group called Legacy, which is his high-end mastermind. It costs, if I'm correct, $15,000 just to be in the group. And actually, if I'm correct, he's actually leaving for that this coming week. So, and I know it's Father's Day too, and he's got a wife and 2 beautiful daughters. So I just want to really make sure we all understand how I'm just super grateful that he took the time to come on and do an hour with us. It's 7 a.m. out here in BC on a Sunday morning, so this is just a really, really cool opportunity. So, Colin, I'm gonna let you take over, do a bit of anything you want to share about yourself or whatnot, and then we're just going to jump right into the questions we've prepared. So, Colin, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much, Michael. And can you hear me nice and clearly, Michael?
Yes, absolutely.
Beautiful, awesome. And I just want to welcome everybody today. I know there's lots of people on the East Coast as well, and really it's awesome to be here with all of you. And I'll do my utmost to answer everything with absolute vulnerability and realness, because I want all of you to realize, all the success that I've had has come from really learning so much about myself and growing myself over the years. And I really live by the statement that your mess is your message. So all the stuff that's happened in your past, no matter how negative you think it is really supporting you and driving you forward. It's all part of your journey. And I'm a big believer in everything that happens in your life happens for a reason. So I'm super excited to be here with you all today. Michael, you did a great intro. I don't have anything else to add other than I just want to serve all the people on the call today, and make sure you have a pen and paper ready, because there's no point in just sitting here listening. And I know that this is being recorded, but take some notes. And the best gift you can give me, and I'm sure you can give Michael, is to make sure you take notes and you learn and you go and implement what you learn. Otherwise, it's just a whole bunch of learning that's a waste of time. And I promise you today, you ask great questions, you will get great answers. And make sure you implement what you learn, because it's a big part of who I am, is around accountability and implementation.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, is we have some questions that people have asked beforehand. So what I'm basically going to do is, for example, Jonah is the first person who asked the question, then Amir. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over to Jonah, and I'm going to let Jonah ask. If he wants to ask the same question as he put in submitted, that's totally fine. Or if he wants to ask a different question, that's fine too. But basically, I'm going to pass it over to Jonah. Jonah's going to ask his own question, and then Colin can answer that, and that's pretty much how we'll do it. If for some reason, and again, remember, if you should all be on mute. So if we can't hear you all, say that again. But if some people forget they're on mute, so just make sure when you actually go to say something, you unmute yourself. Okay, so let's jump into it. So Jonah, why don't you start us off with what's your question for Colin?
Hey there, Colin. So my question is, in the people that you work with and the people you coach, what is the most sure and consistent indicator of success?
Sorry, just say again, Jonah?
Yeah, so in the people that you work with and the people that you coach, what is the most consistent and sure indicator of success?
Wow, Jonah, it's a great question. I think the number one is I'm a big fan of making sure people are trainable to start off with. So in all the people I coach, the one thing that really pretty much ensures success is people taking the stuff and actually doing the work. And I really mean that. I mean, implementation for me is everything, Jonah. I don't think people want advice. There's a lot of people that go out asking for help, but they never use the advice that they get given, or they judge the advice. My big thing is always ask advice of people who've done what you want to do, so that you get the right advice and you're on track to doing what needs to be done. So that's my number one thing. Is I always look for people that when we coach, people that are coachable. Number one. Number two, they're not stubborn, because stubborn people are, they're the ones that'll tell you that the advice you're giving them isn't the right advice, which is so fascinating when they ask for advice in the first place. So I'm a big fan of people that want to learn, who are great implementers, and when you hold them accountable, they will get the work done.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Fantastic. So Amir, you've got a question. So you're up next.
Yeah. Good morning, Colin. It's an absolute pleasure.
Good morning.
Just if I heard correctly, you built 4 different multi-million-dollar businesses within 12 months each. And my question is, like, do you when deciding to build these businesses, is your main goal to just create a profit or to solve a problem? And when building them, do you also have an exit strategy in mind? And how important is it to have an exit strategy? So I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, thank you, Amir. The big thing for me is I never ever start anything without an end in mind. You know what I mean? In terms of what's the exit strategy, what's my plan. Even in my vivid vision now for the existing company with Make Your Mark, it's actually written in my vivid vision the exit strategy for what I want to do, how I want to do it, what have you. So I'm a big fan of doing that, of starting with an exit strategy. And for me, and for anyone else listening on the call today, have you got a plan in place for even starting the business? I mean, I'm a big fan of Michael Gerber. Now, of course, I was one of his students, and now, of course, Michael's endorsed me. And if you haven't read the book, The E-Myth Mastery, it's a really great book to read around putting your business, starting your business with the intention of selling it and really systematizing it. And the most important thing for me around all the business I've started, even the business I invest in, I've invested in businesses as well, and I'm a big proponent of supporting other people in business. Is the key thing for me is wake up every day with how can I serve people, not how can I make more money today and how much profit can I make. I'm a big believer in when you wake up and you say how do I serve people, you'll make more money than if you wake up every day going how can I make money today. When you think about your clients and what you do, I heard there's I think it was Cassidy who was talking about real estate and what have you, is instead of just saying I'm making money doing real estate, think about how many people you're serving, how many families can live in the homes, and how many families you're serving with it, what have you, because that to me is the most important, Amir, is really waking up with the intention to serve human beings. Yes, you can wake up, you can say, I'm going to go out and make money today, and you'll make money. I think you make way more money, and I've seen it myself personally. You make more money, way more money when you wake up with the intention of how do I serve people every single day. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that was pretty awesome. Yeah, and I'm just curious. I mean, you built four businesses, and it's like down to a strategy. So I think that's one big part that you believe in. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, I'm all about systems. For me, it's build with systems, put a plan together, and there's only 2 options when you're starting out. Is you can either leverage your time or leverage your money. And every single one of the businesses are built through pure networking. And networking in the right groups, not just going out and networking. I'm so anti some of the stuff that it does get trained out there that says just go out and network. I'm like, no, go out and network in the right places so you meet the right people and you can grow your business. So I started out networking like crazy. We actually teach a whole program on networking so people can really grow their businesses. The other way, of course, is you can leverage your own money, which means you can do online marketing, build funnels, what have you, instead of doing networking. And you can do a combination of the two as well to grow quickly. It's, I can just tell you, I wake up every single day and I go, how do I serve more people? And it's been a great journey in all my businesses, no matter which one. It's always been that focus. And I've done businesses in so many, in all four of those businesses were in different market spaces. One was mining. The second one was in the fitness space. I did skincare. Now I'm in the coaching world. And this, of course, is my absolute passion. I love what, really watching people achieve stuff they never thought possible.
Fantastic.
Wow. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. I think James, you're up next. So James Fedek.
Yeah. Hey, Colin.
Hey, good morning.
Morning. My question for you was, being in the space that you're in now with education and training, how do you ensure that you're delivering massive value to people? Because I think I love what you were saying before, is that it really doesn't matter what you say to someone if they don't go and implement it. So how do you ensure that you're actually delivering tangible results to people, and what are the things that you do to make sure that people are held accountable and follow through and get real life value out of the training that you're giving them?
Yeah, so the big thing for me, James, is I spent time really researching this space before I got into it. And one of the key questions I always asked, I went to as many seminars as I could and trainings as I could. And I went to some of my friends in this space too that just do online training only. And I was listening more than anything else. And I want all of you to write this down, is just think about what's missing. Your clients and prospects are telling us every single day what's missing in our space, and we're not listening. We keep on going, well, there's only one way to do it. And in the space I'm in right now, this is the way I do it. I've listened to so many people. And the one thing, James, for me that stood out in this whole space was no one was holding people accountable to implementing what they were taught. So you go to a seminar, you go home, you put the stuff on the shelf, it becomes shelf help instead of self help. And for me, I just learned. It's like, okay, well, everyone's complaining that no one cares whether they implement or not. So that's why we started our groups, and we have like groups that meet every 2 weeks to make sure people are implementing. And when I went out to a number of people, I said to them, I'm going to start groups to hold people accountable to actually implementing what we teach them. Some of the people in the industry, some of my really close friends said to me, Colin, you're crazy. Who cares if people implement or not? And I said, I care immensely because I want people to be successful. So, James, that was a big thing for us, is just listening to what the clients were saying to us, that, no one cares. I said, okay, I care. Great. So we launched the groups. Yes, does it take more work and effort and energy to manage those groups? Absolutely. Does it make us stand out in the industry? Absolutely. Like, we are the people say to me, well, Colin, your whole system and structure is designed to get people to implement. I mean, the value of what we teach, we have so much value in everything we teach. And I hire the best people, what I believe the best people in the world, to come in and teach our students. And then we hold them accountable through our accountability system that we, more so than anything, came upon because people said to me when I went out to other seminars that what was missing. So think about this for yourselves, all of you that are listening. What's missing in your industry today? And the worst thing you can ever say is it's not done this way in our industry. Because if you keep on saying that, you'll never be a disruptor in your industry. Disruptors are the ones that listen to what people are saying, listen to the prospects, listen to the customers, and then find a solution to what's missing. And if you take Uber, for example, Uber would not be around if it wasn't for them thinking outside the box and going, what's the biggest challenge in the taxi industry? And look at Uber now, one of the most successful companies currently. So never stop thinking about what is my client complaining about, because that complaint can also be an opportunity for an amazing solution to be a disruptor in your industry.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Colin. Love that.
You're very welcome.
Fantastic.
Absolutely welcome.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So, and I'm just going to give people a heads up so people are a bit prepared. So, Ben, you are going to be asking your question next, and then Alex, and then Natsu, and then Vanessa, and then Matt, Andrews, by the way, and then Lucas, So that's the order. So let's go to Ben Schaefer.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, beautiful.
Perfect. So I just want to say something very quickly, Colin. I went to one of your 2-hour talks. I just want to say also thank you so much for being here this morning, especially on Father's Day. I went to one of your 2-hour talks, and one thing that you said that was insanely powerful is that people remember headlines, not logos and not names, unless you're like a McDonald's or a Nike. And I've had actually 2 prospects come back to me, and actually they thought that the name of our title, even though I had it in my signature and in my email, was actually the taglines that I had in my subject line. So that's something that you taught me that has been insanely powerful as I move forward. So thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
My question, so thank you. My question is I've had a lot of success getting in front of the right people to kind of sell my service to, but I'm having a hard time actually closing them. And for me, I feel that's on me. Either I'm not making them comfortable enough, or I haven't made them feel that I've added enough value. So in your experience, what are some tricks or things that you can kind of talk about to actually getting people to sign that piece of paper and move forward with business?
Well, Ben, this is one of my favorite topics, and for me, when you wake up in the morning, and this is once again for everyone on the call, when you wake up in the morning and you're going out to do business, think to yourself, how do you create urgency and scarcity for the product or service you have? And if you cannot create scarcity and urgency, people don't take action, for most people. So you want to close a client, the big thing is to figure out how do I get them to move forward. And if you don't have something to get them to move forward, they will procrastinate forever. So I'll give you an example. I know there might be some coaches on here, what have you. I'll give you a couple of different examples around products and services. Let's say you have a coaching contract and you send out a proposal for coaching, and a lot of times people at the last paragraph in the proposal typically reads, I trust that my proposal meets with your favorable approval, and I look forward to moving ahead with you. Excuse me. That's just really fluffy. There's no urgency in that. There's nothing that can really get people to take that action. What I would have in my proposal, and what I do have when I do big coaching proposals, is the final paragraph would be something more along the lines of, I'm a big believer in delivering absolute quality for my clients. At any given time, I only work with, let's say, 8 clients. At any given time, I only work with 8 clients. Right now, I have space for 2 clients. If you want one of those spaces, call me immediately so we can get you going and give you the quality that you deserve. And I can tell you one thing, Ben, you'll see people. I've watched people jump on board. Their phone rings immediately. Why? Because they want one of those 2 spots. Remember, urgency and scarcity is there to stop procrastination. It's not there to manipulate people or anything like that. You do this with the right intention, you'll always get the results that you're looking for. And it's the same thing. There's urgency and scarcity every single day that we can create. Remember, if you all want to write this down, and this is important, when it comes to urgency and scarcity, is you can limit the following. So you just write down limit and then a colon. You can limit the time. Of course, like you can early bird offers and all that kind of stuff. If people didn't limit the time on an early bird offer, people would just wait and buy the day before, buy at the event. But if there's an early bird offer that expires like 30 days prior to the event and then it goes to full price, people jump on board and they buy that. Why? Because that's considered urgency. So you can limit the time, you can limit the price, you can limit the quantity of what's available, you can limit the packaging, you can limit the bonuses. There's so many things you can limit to get people to take action. So just think for yourself, then, in the proposal or the client you have right now, what urgency have you created? If you haven't created urgency, they'll just sit there and wait. And remember, validation of a proposal, let's say a 30-day validity for a proposal, is not really urgency. Does that make sense, Ben?
Yeah, no, that's really, really powerful. So sorry, when you say 30 days is not urgency, what would you say, I guess timeline one would be more considered urgency?
You want people to take action. So here's the thing. So I'm a big fan of the OCD process: open, close, deliver. Okay. So the key thing for me is if you want to close a client, first of all, you have to have a really great relationship with them so that they know, like, and trust you before you go anywhere near closing a deal. Because if you close too quickly, and they don't know, like, and trust you, then you'll just irritate them. So that's really important. In terms of the duration, for me, once they know, like, and trust you, you close a deal as soon as you can by creating urgency for them to move ahead and take action. Because you know, Ben, that the product or service that you have to offer them is going to help them immensely. And when you know that, the longer you leave them waiting to do things, the more of a disservice you are doing for them. So that's why I always look at things in a very different way. It's not selling them, it's being of service to them so they can move ahead and get to where they want to be, and you can solve their challenge sooner than later so they can be further ahead themselves sooner than later.
I love that. Thanks so much, Colin. That was great.
You're very welcome. Absolutely welcome.
Awesome. Okay, cool. Alex Vino, you're up. Alex, you
Good
on?
morning.
Sorry about that. I was trying to unmute myself unsuccessfully. Hi, Colin. Good morning. How are you?
Go ahead.
Good and yourself?
Very well, thanks. I looked at some of your videos before coming on today, the last few days, and I'm an actor, and it's been hard over the last few years to. I've realized that I am a business, but it's been hard to find tools to effectively use myself as a business. But I found a lot of really cool ones in your videos already, so I wanted to thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so my question is, after having developed my writing skills to aid my acting career over the last few years, I now present myself as an actor-writer. I wonder, however, if presenting myself as a multifaceted artist comes across as unfocused, and especially in the film industry where people try to label you as one thing very quickly. Do you have any thoughts, Colin, on selling yourself as a multiple service provider versus focusing on one service for the sake of perceived specialization, for lack of a better term?
Wow, that's a great question. So Alex, here's my philosophy in all this. And unfortunately, people, when you have too many things to offer people, they consider you to be jack of all trades and master of none. So for me, it's find the one that can get your foot in the door, and then once you're in the door and they take you up on whatever that service is, then you can present the other service that you have. So if it's acting, then say I'm going to really focus on my acting career, and then once you get your foot in the door, then you can start to talk to people about how great a writer you are. But if you're on both, if you're too multifaceted, people do see it, unfortunately, as unfocused and scattered. And when you become, remember, I mean, we always say you get rich in your niche, and it's really getting that focus in place so people know that you're an expert at in what industry you're in. Because the more you niche yourself or you niche yourself, the more focused you become and the more expert in your industry you become. And I would highly recommend, in my opinion, choosing one and then adding, and then as you introduce yourself to people and they start to use, let's say, utilize your services in terms of acting, then you start to roll out. Well, once they've got to know, like, and trust you and understand who you are, then roll out that you're also a writer. Otherwise, I think people you won't get the results that you're looking for. That's my opinion.
Thank you very much for that, Colin. I've already seen some situations where that's happened, and you've kind of confirmed it in a certain regards, and I appreciate that very much. Thank you for that answer, Colin.
You're welcome, and I'll give you one quick example. So, like Michael said in the beginning, I'm going down with our Legacy Mastermind to Mexico next week. Actually, I leave tomorrow, and the key thing, one of the guys that's there with me is an insurance agent. And of course, they sell a whole bunch of different products, different things for people. When I started working with him about 7 years ago, I got him to focus on one product that he delivers, and that's all he does. He still delivers all the other products. Once he gets his foot in the door with the most sexy of his products, and he gets a foot in the door and the clients buy from him, then he lets them know all the other services he has. And because he's now trusted by them, now they buy other products and services from him. So it's really cool to not just be I'll say it again, jack of all trades, master of none, or jack of all products and services, master of none, because that's how people see it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Very welcome.
Fantastic. Okay, Natu, you're up.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much for joining us, Colin. I really appreciate it.
Very welcome.
Yeah. So my question is, because I spend a lot of my time online, so my question is, what's the best way to know what product or service will be the most value to thousands of people online? So, like, let's say you have just a bunch of people on social media, etc., email lists, and you just want to see what products or service would be of most value. What's a good way you would say of determining this?
Well, that's a fascinating question. Number one is I would look at it first before you even decide what product or service is. What really resonates with yourself first, so that when you're actually selling the product or service that you're selling is something that you resonate with. So that it's not just I'm here to sell something that people want online so I can make a whole bunch of money. It's what are you delivering that's going to really serve them. So I'd look at that first. So that's my own way of looking at things, because I don't want to just sell stuff. It's not who I am. But that's my own opinion on that. But I'm a big fan of when you resonate with what you're selling, it makes your life a lot easier. And then in terms of choosing which product or service, I mean, I'm a big fan of if you've got a big following on social media, is to look at some products or services that you really, really enjoy, that you think are awesome, and then roll them out to your social media in terms of even doing surveys or doing some short little Facebook videos or whatever, Instagram, whatever it is, social media that you use, and test the market with what you have before you actually go out and put your whole heart into the product or service that you want to roll out online. So I would test it. I mean, it's a big thing for me is I don't really help a lot of people choose products or services, because for me, if you don't resonate with what you're selling, then you're just doing it for the money, which is okay. Some people do that. I'm a big fan of resonating with what you sell. And once you resonate with it, life's a lot easier. I hope that answered your question.
No, that's an excellent answer. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Okay, Vanessa A., you're up.
Hi, Colin. It's really great to talk to you again. I'm really grateful that you're on this call with us this morning. My question was for pretty much all of us that are starting in business, I'm guessing, or just we're still all at a very young age. When we're starting up in business, when we're that young, how can we build the credibility? I know that's always a challenge for me, so I'm wondering what would be your answer for that?
Yeah, so a great question, Vanessa. And the big thing for me around credibility is, and you should all write this down, when a credible buyer buys, other buyers buy way quicker. So I'll say that again. When a credible buyer buys, other buyers buy way quicker. So one of the things for me is finding a really credible person that someone that will add immense credibility to your business. So a client that if you mentioned their name, people would be like, "Oh my goodness, you do business with that that person," would then bring immense credibility to you. So the big thing for me is, if you want to get a credible person on board, my number one thing is, and this is how you grow your business really quickly, is find really credible people to get on board that use your product or service. So, and when you bring them on board, the most important thing is, can you give them an outrageous offer? And let me explain the outrageous offer part, Vanessa. So an outrageous offer is something that, and there's three real bullets to the outrageous offer. Number one is it needs to be extremely well structured, an outrageous offer. Number two, it needs to be effectively communicated. And number three, all done up front. And let's just say, I'll give you an example of this. It'll help you maybe understand it, Vanessa. So when I started out in the industry, I don't think age has got anything to do with it. I think a lot of people that are young put that I'm too young, and that's one of your biggest challenges. I'm more a big fan of be careful of your words, because if you keep on saying people don't trust me because I'm young, or people don't see me as credible as because I'm young, be very careful, because that's what you program onto your subconscious, and you'll attract more of that into your life. But when I first started out in the industry that I'm in, I started out doing corporate training. And of course, I went to the big guys like Scotiabank and Bank of Montreal and what have you. And every single one of them said to me, who else do you train for? And I didn't have another big client on board. So they would just say, well, when you've got another big client on board, or you train for another big company the size of ours, then come back. So then I went out and I went to one of my closest friends who works as an advisor for Sun Life Financial. And I said to him, can you give me a meeting with the financial center manager for the office that he works in? He said, Colin, I'll absolutely do that for you. I went in there. I had a very well-structured offer. I communicated it to the financial center manager immediately when I walked in the door, and then I did it all up front. So I said to him, listen, I would like to come train for you. So listen how this offer goes. It's really interesting, and I hope you're all listening and taking some good notes here. I went in, I said to them, okay, I'm going to give you my training at cost. And I'm going to, at the end of that, once I give you my training at cost, for your office only, for Sun Life Financial, only the one center. And I would like a testimonial at the end on letterhead. I want a video endorsement of who I am once you've gone through your advisors have gone through the training. I also want I want you to be able to take phone calls from me or from my potential clients once we've done the training to endorse me, and maybe take 2 phone calls a month. And would you accept that? And the guys said to me, Colin, I absolutely will do that for you. I said, awesome. And I said to them at the same time, I'm going to give you the pricing at cost for your office only. If you tell the other offices of Sun Life Financial, I will charge them full price. Because I'm going to be charging them full price. I will charge you full price if they ask me for the same discount that I'm giving you. All I want to do is get you on board. And Vanessa, I got Sun Life, that one office on board. I then went back to Bank of Montreal, back to Bank of Nova Scotia, and I said to them, I now train for Sun Life Financial. And the funny part was, my first training for Sun Life Financial was 2 months after that first meeting I had with them. And in between that, I went out and I said, I trained for Sun Life Financial. I didn't say I've trained, because that would be out of integrity. And I said, I trained now for Sun Life Financial. I got Bank of Montreal on board, Bank of Nova Scotia on board, and that was it. Because when a credible buyer buys, other buyers buy way quicker. Does that make sense, Vanessa?
Yeah, just to clarify, I didn't quite get when you said that you talked to Sun Life Insurance. You said that you did charge them the full amount or half price. I didn't get that part really.
No, so I gave them, for that one office, I gave them my training at cost, and I said to them,
okay.
I will train for you at cost for as long as you want. But I'm going to be charging all the other offices of Sun Life Financial my full rack rate. And they maintained the agreement with me. I trained for them for nearly 3 years. And I got all the other offices on board. I trained across Canada for Sun Life Financial. And it was fantastic. And I did really well with it. And eventually I stepped out of that because I just wanted to get away from the corporate training and actually get into the training where where the people in the room want to be there, as opposed to being told by their boss that they have to be there. So I flipped over to the entrepreneurial market, and of course, I will never go back to the corporate market. I love the entrepreneurial market.
That's awesome. Thank you very much, Colin.
You're very welcome.
Fantastic. Okay, cool. So we've got Matt Andrews, you're going to say your question, then Lucas, and then we've got Ben, and then after that we're going to open it up. So for those of you who want to ask a question, that's going to be your chance. So Matt Andrews, this is you.
Hi, Colin. Good morning.
Good morning.
I want to thank you for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience there. Got a lot of gold so far that I'm really looking forward to implementing.
You're welcome. Very welcome.
My question is, it's pretty specific for my business. I've got a real estate investing company that we team up with local investors to buy income-producing properties. And just very recently, I had a few opportunities and met the right people to really kind of scale up. So now I'm in the position of looking to raise millions of dollars instead of the hundreds of thousands that I'm used to. So I'm just wondering when you're basically taking a business and going to the next scale, what does it take in terms of mindset, in terms of just the business and, overall presentation as well when I'm asking people for millions of dollars?
The key thing is, first of all, congratulations on your success, which is awesome. The big thing for me, Matt, would be really looking at what, I wouldn't change a ton of stuff you're doing. Obviously, what you're doing is working already. And remember, a person with a few $100,000, what have you, versus someone with millions of dollars, really the person, the caliber of person might be slightly different. At the end of the day, they're all looking for the same thing and really looking for, how much money you're looking for, what's the exit strategy, what's the return on the investment, what have you. The number one thing I would be looking at when it comes to the higher end investors often want less information to start off with. So, I mean, I know that I have friends that fly down to Silicon Valley looking for money all the time, and now it's got down to like one-page proposals on this is you know what the amount of money I'm looking for. It's very well presented, very professional, and they say this is the amount of money I'm looking for. This is the exit strategy. This is your return on investment. This is how secure is the money in terms of is any collateral backing that the funds in terms of the loans they're going to give. So the key thing is really, I wouldn't change a ton of stuff you're doing. Obviously, it's working, Matt, but I would be very focused on listening to what the investors are looking for. And you know, a lot of times being short and upfront and like a single page offer as opposed to multi-pages to start off with, because normally the higher level people will ask for more information if they want it or if they need it to go forward, but they want to get the meat and potatoes really quickly and upfront before they even ask for those more details. And if it's not sexy enough upfront, then they'll abort and go somewhere else. So that would be my suggestion from my side for yourself and your business is make sure your proposals are short and sweet, but really highlighting what the investor is going to get from it. And if they want more information, I'll come back to you.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Perfect. Okay, cool. Lucas, you're up next.
Hey, Colin, just wanted to say thank you very much for coming on the call with us. Again, pure gold.
You're super welcome.
Thank you. My question is a little bit more to do with kind of goal setting and like a vision board, I guess. Just wondering from your perspective and experience, how do people actually find their true goals? I know a lot of people are always looking to kind of become successful or rich or help people, but like the goals for themselves, how do people find those? And then what do they actually put on their vision board in your perspective? How do you, to find and continue on to those goals, like what actually goes on the vision board?
Yeah, Lucas, it's a great question. I could probably do an hour call just on vision boards, you know, or probably even half a day. So let me give you a couple of key things that I found, even with myself as you know, as I was in my, you know, as I grew up and had my own goals. The challenging part I found with a lot of the goals that people set out there is, number one, all goals are achievable. Just sometimes the time frame we give them is completely unrealistic. So what I'd look at doing, you know, for me is, let's just say, I had a goal that I wanted to be a multi-millionaire by the time I was 30. And you put that out there. Yes, you can put that on a dream board, you can put on a vision board, whatever you want to call it. But the big thing for me is, what action do you need to take every day starting today to get to that goal? And for many of you, I think you're all below 30 or you might be below 40, whatever the age is, it doesn't really matter. It's great to put a goal out there, but what daily activities do you need to do in order to get to that goal? So I'm a big fan of reverse engineering all goals. And you know, for sure, you can put them on your vision board, hold the space. But if it's, let's give you an example. I'll give you a really weird example, Lucas, is let's say you're 50 pounds overweight. And you say, well, my goal is to release that 50 pounds by the end of July. It's like, well, that's completely unrealistic. You know, you'd probably have to starve yourself for the next month in order to hit that goal. And is that healthy? Is it good for you? No. So that 50 pounds, you're like, okay, well, I can release that by the end of December this year, which is still a big undertaking. But then you reverse engineer it to what I need to do every single week, every single day to achieve that goal by the end of the year. So I'm a big fan of reverse engineering your goals, because once you put them up there, I mean, many of you are young that are on this call. You're probably going, I want to be a multi-millionaire by the time I'm 30 or whatever age group it is. Yes, but what are you doing? What are you actively doing every single day to get there? And have you reverse engineered that goal? Because what happens is when you reverse engineer it and you start going towards it, the goal actually comes towards you quicker than just being a goal out there that, you know, you say, okay, well, that's an interesting goal. Like I have a young gentleman in Calgary that I'm busy mentoring at the moment. And we run a youth program together. And I said to him, Nick, he's like, Colin, we need so many people in our event in August of this year. I said, great, Nick. What do you do every single day? How many people do you need to get on board every single day to achieve that goal in August? I said, don't wait until the end of July to be sitting there going, wow, I don't need to get 15 people a day in. Every single day right now, Nick, you need to get 2 people into the program and by the end of by the actual event date, and we'll be way further ahead. So that's the one thing for me on goal setting. And then the second thing is, when it comes to vision boards and dream boards, is to really put your goals up, like your dreams up on a board and what have you. I love that. The big thing for me, though, is once you put them up, is to visualize them every morning and every night. To look at them, visualize them, internalize them. And I'm a big fan of, if you don't feel what you want, because after all the studies I've done around this, around mindset and what have you, if you don't feel your dreams as being real, you'll never achieve them. You can't think rich, feel broke, because you'll always be broke. So you have to think rich, feel rich, and things will start to show up for you. So the same with your dreams. When you visualize them, do you feel yourself being successful? Do you feel yourself having $1 million? Do you feel yourself having that new car, that new house, or an amazing relationship? What do you really feel? Because if you cannot get your feelings in line with your head, I can tell you won't ever achieve what you want. It's really resonating with the goals that you want to achieve and having your feelings attached to those goals. Did that help at all, Lucas?
Yeah, that was actually fantastic. It really, I'm going to take that away. I really like that. Along those lines as well, just wondering, have you seen people kind of change as well, kind of what their goals are over time, and how do they actually figure out what the specific goals they have are? I find a lot of people kind of know approximately, roughly where they want to be, but they have trouble finding like a very specific goal that, like, this is actually what I want in 10 years. And like, this is how I imagine my life, or things like that. Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's such an interesting one. For me, I believe people change their goals for maybe a couple of reasons. Number one, they didn't resonate with their goal in the first place. So it was something that they wanted to do because they wanted to keep up with the Joneses or, what have you. And it was all ego-based rather than resonating with who they are as a human being. And yeah, that's number one. And then the other way that people, I think, sort of why they shift their goals is because their time frame was unrealistic. They didn't get to achieve it, and they go, well, I'm just going to change my goal then. For me, it's when you, like I said, when you reverse engineer it and you know where you want to be, and you know what you need to do every single day, you won't fall off track that easily. And people that don't reverse engineer don't get to that goal. Let's just say you want to have $1 million business by the end of this year. You don't get there, and then you say, well, now I'm not achieving. Remember, to me, every single goal that you put out needs to have at least a daily or weekly or monthly win towards that goal. Because when you're winning and having small wins towards the big win, that's when you stay on track. If you just put this goal out there and hope it's going to happen by the end of the year, and you don't look at the wins you have every single day or every single week, it's not easy to stay on track. Does that make sense?
That's great. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking the time.
You're very welcome.
Cool. All right, Ben.
Hey,
Ben.
Yeah,
there we go.
Thanks for having me on the call. I just had a quick question. So I sort of have an idea of being an entrepreneur in the future and running a business, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm just wondering, with that entrepreneurial goal in mind, how important is school? So like going to actual university versus practical experience in running a business. I currently manage a franchise. Like what weight would you put on actual school versus experience versus taking other courses?
Ben, now please, all of you, I make a disclaimer on this. I am really, really biased in one direction on this. So please forgive me on this one, Ben. If you're going to go to university and get a degree, make sure the degree is in line with what you want to be doing. So that's number one. And as an entrepreneur, I am a big fan of, rather go out, if you're going to go start a business, go and learn how to run a business from people who've built businesses. Many people who sit at universities have never built a business. They have all this academic training. It looks great, all that kind of stuff. I have 2 degrees. I have an engineering degree as well as an MBA. If you ask me, would I have changed things or done things differently? I probably would have. I was in my own business at the age of 9. I had another business and when I was 18, I sold when I was 21. And I had none of that education at that time. For me, I'd learned skill sets from my grandparents that were business owners, and I'm like, why did I ever go to university? Because I don't even really use that information now. Yeah, my MBA I used to a certain extent, but you know what? There's so much great knowledge out there, Ben. It's an absolute, and please all forgive me on this, I think it's an absolute myth that people say go out and get highly educated. Then the reason this exists because I believe our government wants us to get highly educated, so go get a job and we can pay taxes and pay CPP and people's pension plans and all that kind of stuff. I'm a big fan, Ben, of do what's right for you. Like I have a daughter that's 14 and she turns 15 later this year, and she said to me already, she said, Dad, do I have to stay in school? I'm like, I don't believe the school system even serves our children. And I said to her, hun, if you want to start a business, come learn from me, come be my protege in the company. You're not going to sit at home and drop out of school and sit at home and do nothing. I don't even believe dropping out is even the right term because I think it's such a suck term. You don't drop out. She's just going to go to a place that's going to serve her better for the skills and talent she has. So she actually said to me, Dad, I'd love to look at possibility of leaving school and going to a place that's going to serve me. I said, honey, I'd love to help you. So she's interested in actually stepping in with me in her own business at the age of 14. And by the time she's 20, she'll be so far ahead. So my big thing is be careful of what society says is right, because I meet many people. I go to many restaurants, and when I go to those restaurants, I'm forever doing surveys and chatting with a lot of the servers at the restaurants, and it amazes me how many servers have degrees, and the sad part is that they are paying off student loans and they're working as a server because the degree they got doesn't really get them anywhere any further into the environment they want to go into. So, of course, if you want to become a doctor, a lawyer, what have you, accountant, you have to go get a degree. There's only one way of doing it, and that's the current system. But I think there's so many other ways of doing things and honoring yourself around education. And I'm a big fan, Ben. Learn from people who've done it and done what you want to have done. What you want to do, and also find yourself a couple of mentors who are very successful in the industry that you're in or that you want to go into, and ask them to mentor you and guide you along the way. And I promise you, you will never ever want for anything. Does that make sense, Ben?
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. Maybe just a quick follow-up question, if at all possible. Do you have any advice on finding a mentor or someone, say that you dropped out of school and pursued that?
Yeah, here's the thing. So please, take the word dropped out. It's dropping out. You're not dropping out. You're actually going. I think you're raising yourself up rather than dropping out, because I think it's just such a negative term to set ourselves. I dropped out of school. No, I'm raising my game and doing something else that really serves me. So that's number one. And then I'm finding a mentor, and this is for all of you. Number one, figure out, find the best people in your industry. And they might not be in the same city as you. They might be in another city somewhere else, because maybe you're like, someone's not going to mentor. They might not mentor you in the city you're in because they might find you as a competitor or something to them. Great. Well, then go find someone in another city. And the big thing is do your research on your mentors. Like research who they are, research stuff about them. And then my big thing with mentors is go to groups where you would find really good mentors, so like high level groups, what have you, and go network there. You'll find people that are very successful, Ben, want to mentor other people. Like I'm currently mentoring, I think 4, maybe 5 now. Actually, I think there's a 5th person just come on board. I don't do a lot of it. Why? Because I just don't have a ton of time. But the 4 or 5 people at any given time that I'm mentoring, I do it because I love helping other people. And for me, truly successful people love mentoring other people to watch them grow. And you just have to ask. But the most important thing, don't go and sit down with somebody and say, I've done some research on you. It's really awesome. Can you tell me how to be successful in business? Find out something specific about them that's made them successful and learn that specific piece of business from them. To say, sit down and say, you know what, I see from your from all the research I've done on you, you are exceptional at online marketing, and in the space we're in, can you be a mentor for me to teach me some of those online marketing strategies in our space, so I can learn them from you to become more successful. But whatever it is, whatever piece it might be, do not sit down with someone and say, hey, teach me, can you help me with business? Because that's too general. Your mentors want to be helping you, but they need to know exactly what you need help with. So be very specific about what you ask for mentorship in. Does that make sense, Ben?
Yeah, thanks so much. That was really helpful.
Awesome. Okay, cool. One of the questions I actually wanted to go through was obviously we have an event coming up in July, and it's really curious to me, Colin, because especially in today's day and age, like most of the people that I know my age, the whole push is online, right? Like digital, and I'm a big fan of Gary Vee, and it seems like so many people are going into digital marketing, and there's nothing wrong with that. What I'm curious about though is why did you choose to do physical events, right? Like it's sometimes I'm sure it's a pain in the butt to organize all that stuff and space and all that stuff. So what I'm curious about is what's the value that you see in doing physical events, and why did you put your business around that versus just doing online training or online courses like so many other people seem to be doing? So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, Michael, of course, we do some online, but the reason why I went more towards live, more in-person events is I went down to see, good friends, and that's why I say mentorship is so important. So I went down to San Diego to Digital Marketer, and I went down and I saw Ryan Dyson, Frank Kern, and what have you. And I was sitting at the back of the room with them, and this was prior to me starting Make Your Mark. And they said to me, and I said, how's the online space? And they said, Colin, the online space is so crazy. It's so jam-packed. Everyone's going online. And when I hear the statement, everyone's going online, it normally says to me, we'll go the opposite direction, because if you run with the sheep, you get sheared. So why would you always be running in the same direction as them? So I was like, you know what, I'm going to go against the grain here and go and do in-person events. And Frank said to me, Colin, wow, I can't believe what you've built. I said, Frank, the big thing for me is you can build online communities. And for all of you listening to this, one of my favorite statements now is I think the most successful businesses in the 21st century will be ones that build community, because I find it really interesting that so many people are stuck on screens nowadays, stuck on the internet, but really what people are craving is to be connected with other people, like this call, Michael, like the Q&A today, but also your event coming up in July. The reason why I like live events is, number one, online, people, let me go back one step. When people come to a live event and in a hotel or wherever it is, number one, they give their full attention to that one-day training or whatever it is. When they do stuff online, most people are so distracted by so many other things that when they're doing online trainings, they don't really get the full benefit of the online training. And that's in my opinion. So for me, I love the live event because people can network, they can connect with each other, they can spend time with each other, get to know, like, and trust each other. And our community at Make Your Mark has grown substantially, and it really warms my heart to watch our students doing business together, because they get to know, like, and trust each other through the live events that we do. So I'm a big fan of in-person events, not just because it builds community, but also because it helps them build their businesses. And I believe that people just crave that community, and we're losing a lot of the community around the world right now. And putting people in a room and having them hang out together and have fun together because they're like-minded people, Michael, that to me is we built all our success on it, Make Your Mark.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I wanted to just share, because I know a lot of people on the call aren't clear about it. Like, one of the reasons why, like, when me and James and Jonah originally got together, because we all a ton of people from this call are from StudentWorks, and I think one of the things I didn't realize going through the StudentWorks when I did that for 3 years was how valuable having a like-minded group of just super young, ambitious people was, because we just fed off each other. And I know, obviously, like I've been with, done some of Colin's courses as well, and we'll be doing more, obviously. And one of the things I've noticed is when I physically get around people, because there's just a disconnection I find when I'm not around that, right? Which is funny for me because I'm an introvert. Me and Colin joke about that all the time. But no, it's so valuable to get around other like-minded people. And so I wanted to just encourage you guys, if you haven't, what we're doing, actually in line with Colin's piece on urgency and scarcity, we're ending the early bird tonight. So for those of you who haven't bought the tickets yet, for the event coming up in July, that's our whole focus, is bringing together young people, because that's what I've noticed with a lot of my friends is there's just a disconnection, and so I wanted to encourage people that's coming up, and that's definitely what it's about. It's just about building community. So I know, Angela, I want to make sure you got your chance, and we're almost done here, and I want to make sure I respect Colin because he's obviously got Father's Day plans with his kids and family. So Angela, why don't you go ahead and ask your question quickly?
Thank you. Hi. My question was, actually, I am a high school dropout in my mid-30s, and I kind of did a lot of things on my own and went to the streets to learn the craft. So I had several businesses and kind of serial entrepreneur, and now I have another business that I had for 2.5 years, which is a consulting, and I work with big corporations and all of that. And my challenge is, and I have a hard time finding somebody that can give me the right answer for it. But my challenge is that I get bored with what I'm doing. So let's say I have a goal. So I started this consulting company from nothing. I had no experience in anything. My goal was to go into the big name, train them, get that credibility and everything. And I did that and I achieved this. And now I'm kind of, should you say, bored, and now I have another idea of a different venture. And so my question is, what's the right way? Do you kind of, is every business that you do and the experience you do is build you to the next one? And is it just a step or a milestone towards the next one? Or should I kind of learn how to stick with whatever skill I have developed in this business that I built in 2.5 years that have credibility and everything, and take it to the next level? So I'm always challenged with this, getting the business to a certain level, and then what do I do next when I find myself bored and looking for a new challenge to conquer?
Yeah, Angela, here's the thing for me is, number one, congratulations, you're an entrepreneur. So that's never going to change in terms of getting bored, because once you get a business systematized, and if you've got it systematized well enough, then my suggestion to you would be is to start to look for somebody that is not an entrepreneur, but somebody that enjoys systems and processes that you can put in to run your company for you. And if you're the chief consultant or what have you, then you have to bring somebody on board that you can train up and you can transfer the trust over to them so they can keep on running your business while you go build another business. And you what have you. I wouldn't make them a partner or anything like that to start off with. They'd have to earn that. And I'm a big fan of, you never partner with people. You only partner with people for two reasons. Number one, they have money that you need, or number two, they have skills and talents that you need. Most people partner for completely the wrong reasons. The big thing for me would be find somebody that you can plug in that is very much around systems, processes, that loves the monotony of the day-to-day operations. And you can find those people. There's lots of them out there. If they're entrepreneurial, they'll be in the same challenge as you, where they want to, they'll get bored and want to move on. So my suggestion to you would be is look for somebody that you can plug into your role. And then if you are now the key person that all the clients love, is it's called a relationship trust transfer, is how you transfer trust over to a new person through going with them out to different clients, introducing them, and over time you transfer that trust over to that person so that you can let them run the business and you go start your new venture, and put a timeline on it. Say in 6 months, by let's say now it's by January 1st, 2019, I want my business completely transferred over to somebody else so I can go build my new venture. And that business keeps on running, and it keeps on paying you dividends or owner draws or whatever every single month. So that business keeps on, it becomes a residual income for you, and you don't have to run it. You just have to be on top of making sure that you got your finger on the pulse for that business financially and what have you as well. I'm a big fan. Build a business, put somebody in who loves systems, let them keep on running it. You keep on making money, go build the next venture and keep on doing that. And you do it multiple times. You will see all of a sudden you get this nice, huge residual income coming in every single month from all the ventures you've started. And I believe sometimes that one venture is a stepping stone to the next, as long as you're in the same industry. If they're not in the same industry and it's completely different, doesn't matter. Then it doesn't matter. One will be a stepping stone just to learn from. You've learned a ton, but the key thing would be all it's going to do is allow you to go off and build the next business. But you've got to make sure that you've got a really good person in place, and over time they could earn partnership in the company or what have you. But for now, I would just find a really good person to run your existing venture. that make sense, Angela?
Yeah, the only thing is, as you're saying that, the thing that comes in mind is online, but because one of the things, it's hard for me to find somebody that can take my place, because what my consulting is, I specialize in behavior and nonverbal communication. So I train sales teams and negotiation skills and stuff like that. And to find somebody to be able to replace me, it's years and years of training. It's not a skill that kind of easily learned. So that's a challenge I have, of how do I find a duplicate, should you say, that is, or do I just go online and leave it there and go to my next thing, as I don't know, do 15% of that, keep it online, and the rest kind of only do high-paying clients.
Yeah, Angela, here's the challenging part is, and and please, no disrespect to you, and this is for all the listeners today, is if you are the go-to person in your business and the only person in your business that can make money for your business, and that's the way it is, then your business will only be as big as you are. And that's number one. And then number two is there are great people out there that have your skills and talents, guarantee you that have the same education, that are working for other companies right now, that might want to look at running a company like yours. There are other people out there, so be very careful saying there's very few people out there. It's very difficult to find people that have the same skills and talents that you have and the same education, because if you think that, you'll get exactly what you ask for. So be very careful energetically saying that there's no one out there that has your skills and talents. I hear that from so many entrepreneurs, Angela. They say to me, there's no one that's the same as me. I mean, even in my office at one stage, I used to say, I'll never, who's going to be able to be on my stage at Make Your Mark to run our courses for us? And now I have a whole faculty of people who are way smarter than me in certain areas. So you might have to, in terms of your skill set and your education, you might have to go hire 3 people to run to be in your business, to run all 3 areas that you run currently, because your education and your talents are so awesome. But the key thing is you have to maybe split those up and find 2 or 3 people that can take pieces for you, put it together, and do the same job that you do, maybe even better than you do. So just think about it. All I want to do is think about the option. I would never just give up a business and go start something else. I'm always about, how do I take my existing business and turn it into a residual income machine for you, so you can go out and build something else. You with me on that, Angela?
Yes, thank you very, very much. That answers.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Perfect. Well, I know we ran a bit over time here, and I can't say enough. I really, really appreciate you taking the time, Colin. I'm sure everybody, we've heard it, pretty much every single person who said something. We're really grateful that you were able to take the time and make it happen. And